All right. You're hearing 3 times. You're hearing double. Echo gone. Let me know if the echo is gone. Cool. All right. So let's go to. Hopefully this connection will hold up. Let's go straight to what's happening in uh, Venezuela. All right. Let's do that. First off, I want to remind you guys, of course, you know the drill. Bookmark theconsciousresistance.com if you want to stay plugged into what we're doing and all the work we got going on. I've been updating the website all day, getting the articles and videos up to date. You guys saw this video I did yesterday, what you need to know about the Venezuelan coup #3. I actually did another article related to the same thing that goes a bit more in detail. So if you want to actually get into the nitty gritty and understand with other outlets who are up there just documenting what's going on. I don't know if the connection is going to come out that good. We'll see. I'm plugged in. Should work good. We'll see what happens. But Guaido says that liberator Simón Bolívar allowed foreign military intervention in Venezuela. So in an interview done today, Juan Guaido, who is Venezuela's interim president, 35-year-old retired engineer, he basically made it clear that he supports U.S. military intervention. He said, quote, "It might be an organic transition like we saw in 1958, as he referred to the coup that ended a decade of General Marcos Pérez Jiménez's military dictatorship. Quote, "It might be a forced exit, which could happen by using the Venezuelan military or through international cooperation like we saw in a historic event in this country that was in 1819 when Simón Bolívar authorized 5,000 British troops to enter the country." So he's making it clear that he's okay with it. And you know, some people are saying yesterday's coup was failed because this dude Guaido was not able to take a military base. And although this is the reality though. There's fucked up shit going on all sides. Can I just be real? There's, people in support of Maduro they're shutting down the internet over there. They're, running people over and things like that. But also the Western media is not giving you the full picture, of course, as typical, because they're just showing you what they want you to see. But let's get on to Twitter real quick, where you guys know Anya Parempil. I think that's how you say her name. She used to be at RT. Now she's with the Gray Zone. She's collaborating with a few other journalists who are with Gray Zone, with Mint Press News, and some other outlets. And they've been at the Venezuelan Embassy all morning. She was actually here on Tucker Carlson recently. And if you guys haven't seen this clip, check it out. It's like 2 minutes long, and she breaks down the whole situation on Fox News, which is surprising. And she just explains what's going on. For one, as my article explains, there are companies, U.S. companies and foreign companies, who've already said that they're going to benefit if this dude right here, this goon, is put in power. John Bolton, Pompeo, Vice President Pence, and of course Donald Trump are all coming out supporting this because their Western interests stand to benefit. So meanwhile, as Guaido is being declared the interim president, the Venezuelan embassy in D.C. has been occupied by a group calling them the Embassy Protection Collective. And these are a group of typically left-wing progressive activists, but anti-war activists more importantly, including Medea Benjamin of Code Pink. There's a lot of Code Pink activists up there. And again, the same aforementioned activists and journalists who are out there. And so they have been occupying the Venezuelan embassy, trying to protect it, because they know that as Guaido is being declared the new interim president, eventually they were going to come try to take it over, because the Venezuelan government, the embassy officials were given recently by the Trump administration, they were told to leave. So they left the country, they left the embassy. Now the embassy is basically being housed and protected by activists who are trying to prevent the Guaido coup, the people who are attempting the coup, from taking over. So outside of the embassy, you have this really crazy scene going on where a lot of these are Venezuelan citizens, or at least they claim to have Venezuelan family, but they're pro U.S. intervention. See these people lining up here at the bottom? Those are Venezuelan opposition activists. And what I mean by that, those are people who support Guaido, they're against Maduro, and they're also for U.S. intervention. And so they're blocking the entryway to the embassy, where the Embassy Collection Protective was trying to bring food in to their other members. And so here's all the press. And these people blocking it are either just individuals who've been propagandized because, oh, well, I'm from Venezuela and you don't understand what's going on in Venezuela. We need to get rid of Maduro. Obviously, nobody thinks that he's a good guy, but they don't understand how they're supporting U.S. intervention. And Anya Parempal is here in D.C. We're going to play this short clip. This is her outside with the opposition pro-Maduro activists just yelling and just talking shit. These people seem angry and also a little bit indoctrinated. So check this out.
So she should not be here, right?
She's not touching anyone.
Oh, okay. We just want to make sure what the rules are.
Where's your
Because when they touched my people back there,
Don't worry. How much they pay you?
do you speak Spanish?
Claro que no.
What are you
With the
doing?
face.
I
Yeah,
want
you're
to
gonna
go. I want to
go.
get
Hey,
paid. I want to
paid?
This is a Venezuelan passport.
Do you want to get
How much you get paid? We want to know how much you get paid.
Recuerden lo que
How much
dije
you
en la
get paid
mañana.
for it? Do you get paid by the day, by the hour? Please let us know.
This
Yo no
document
even speak Spanish.
Y algo en español. Y algo en español.
So they're just taunting the activists there, and yeah. So I want to show you a little bit more. These videos are just within the last couple hours here. Here she is being confronted by the people, just silly statist shit, right? Then you got the activists from within inside the embassy who are over here chanting and holding up signs and kind of hosting their own rallies. And now here's this Carlos Vecchio, who is one of the fake people who is the ambassador to Venezuela. This is the ambassador for Guaido, the false kind of imposed Western ambassador. And he can't answer questions about why his colleagues attended a DC think tank meeting recently. Now, you guys remember that I mentioned the article I put out yesterday. And in this article, I go into detail how there was a meeting recently you had officials with U.S. Southcom, which is like Southern Command, Naval Southern Command, that is directly responsible for operations down in Venezuela and Brazil, meeting within the last week to discuss military intervention in Venezuela. It was on April 13th, just a couple weeks ago. So the meeting was called Assessing the Use of Military Force in Venezuela, hosted by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, Washington-based think tank. And it included current and former State Department, the National Intelligence Council, and National Security Council officials, along with the Admiral of U.S. Naval Forces Southern Command. So that, along with the Guaido puppets, were all meeting in D.C. recently, and they questioned him about it. He don't want to answer
To
any
play
questions.
house
Let's
as
see
a
this
little
real quick.
girl, you're in office and think that you're so powerful without any authority in your country. That's what it'll be like, right? It'll be fun. And you won't even be able to do anything. You have no power. No power. Can't even be on the streets with your own people, right? That's why Leopoldo Lopez and the defecting Venezuelans are hiding in the Chilean embassy.
So, okay, she's taunting this dude right here. Now, let me give you a little more background on this. So that dude is supposed to be with the usurper, with Guaido, who's supported by the Western governments. Now, also following this, if you want to get updates, I really do suggest Mint Press and Gray Zone, because there's an article today about the whole situation. Violent, bigoted supporters of Juan Guaido attempt to invade Venezuelan embassy. So my point here, though, today is that this dude, Carlos Vecchio, is supposed to be the Trump shadow puppet ambassador. Him and the puppets for Guaido, along with Secret Service, were outside of the Venezuelan embassy, and they tried to come in and take it, and they were stopped by the Embassy Protection Collective, again made up of Code Pink and other anti-war activists. And this is them running away after they tried to take the embassy, and they couldn't. First, they have a failed coup yesterday, and I'm sure they're going to try again. But they try to take over through the streets of Venezuela, and they fail. And now they try to take the Venezuelan embassy in D.C., and activists stop them from doing that. So check this out.
Carlos Vecchio, why was your staff at a meeting to plan the invasion of Venezuela? You're fleeing from your own fake embassy. Where are you going, Carlos? Where are you going, Carlos? Are you going back to the White House?
Over there. Over here. Move. Over this way. Move.
Where are you going, Carlos? Where are you going, Carlos? Why was your staff planning?
You notice how the Secret Service and the cops are protecting. Right here, they come up and they block the journalist from getting close to this guy. I see that there. It's hard to see, but if you're looking at Secret Service right here at the bottom of the screen there, that says Secret Service. So the Secret Service is protecting the ambassador the Trump administration has recognized, as they attempt this coup. Then, as I said, Mint Press is up there. Alexander Rubinstein is there. He's also documenting just some of the stuff going on. Interesting, Alexander Rubinstein and some of these other activists have been in the embassy with the Embassy Protection Collective. And you see, these are the activists on the outside chanting at the activists who are against intervention. This sign says, Venezuelans here and in Venezuela want U.S. intervention. I mean, you couldn't be more indoctrinated than that. And then earlier, this kind of crazy situation where at some point this morning, look, here are the supporters being bussed in on tour buses. It's not like we haven't seen that before. And this guy right here that's shown just chanting outside of the embassy, who's for Venezuelan intervention, he actually broke into the Venezuelan embassy earlier in the morning, and he apparently wrecked a room and things like that. Let me see if I can find that tweet. I woke up this morning to people in fear as a member of the opposition has broken into the embassy and barricaded himself inside a room next to mine. I caught a glimpse of him from outside the window. And there's this guy right here, and as I said, you can see him. This is apparently through the door, you can hear him saying, I'm safe, I locked the door, everything is fine, you're welcome, to whoever paid him to be there. Let's check this out. Yeah, you can clearly hear him say, I locked the door, everything is fine, you're welcome. And here he is. Here's a video of him from the other room as he took over. And apparently he came in early in the building into the embassy where the Embassy Protection Collective is trying to keep the coup plotters from taking over. And he made a bunch of mess, destroyed some property, things like that. There's some clear pictures of him right there. And as I said, you have pictures of him later on outside. And then even, if I can find the clip, let me see, at one of these tweets, they show him actually being questioned, and he's with some older white guy who looks possibly like some sort of intelligence agents or something. And they basically just tell him, don't say it. Here it is. They tell him, don't say a word. Don't say a word. Check this one out. It's just mind-boggling. This is the shit you're not going to see on mainstream media. Totally a plotted coup. Somebody allowed or paid this dude to go in there and try to cause trouble and havoc. They're trying to, he could just be an idiot. He could just be some pro-Venezuelan guy who's just a moron, right? But somebody here is telling him to keep his mouth shut. And it could just be another activist, but I don't know. You guys check this out.
But isn't it illegal to break and enter? And you ransacked a room in the Venezuelan embassy. You caused property damage in an embassy.
I'm fine.
Well, aren't you proud of what you did, breaking in and... You did damage to the Venezuelan embassy. You did property damage, sir. Aren't you proud? No. What do you think of what he did? Do you approve of it? He did property damage in the Venezuelan embassy. There's photos of it. What do you think of it?
They won't say a single word.
Don't you respect your own embassy?
So yeah, like I said, this is Alexander Rubinstein's Real Alex Ruby on Twitter. You can check out the Mint Press News on Twitter. Anya Parampal, who I said used to work for RT, now she's with the Gray Zone Project. Who else is up there? Dan Cohen's another journalist. I guess he's with RT. He's up there covering it. And I know some of you are going to say, well, this is just Russian propaganda, right? That's what the mainstream's saying. That's what John Bolton, who's been wanting to bomb Iran for years and has been calling for war in the Middle East and now wants to go into Venezuela, has said, well, the reason that this is going on is because Russia and China and Cuba now, and they're trying to put pressure on those countries as well. Here's another quote from Dan Cohen. Says, here's a photo of the Guaido appointed diplomat Carlos Vecchio standing next to a man who murdered and dismembered a woman named Liana Hurgueta. Now, there are some other characters in this. Leonardo Lopez. Let me see if I can find the article about him. He apparently is a long-term coup plotter in Venezuela because, this is coming into the horizon for some people. Leopoldo Lopez, that's him. So this guy is backed up. He's right along the same team with Guaido. He apparently tried to do some coup back in 2016. He's been a long time plotting a coup. And if you check out this article here on Mint Press News, it gives you the whole lowdown, the background on who this dude is and what's really going on. But I just wanted to throw this out there, guys. This is just a quick live video because, this is developing right now. All this stuff is happening. I'm going to post some of these links in the chat room now since I've been talking for a minute. Hopefully you guys are hearing me okay. But this is the same old thing we've seen before. I mean, you shouldn't expect any different. If you guys want, I'll post those Twitter accounts in the chat for you. Just say the word and I will post those Twitter chats so you can catch up on what's going on. But this is all happening just in the last couple hours, man. So this is pretty disturbing stuff. And you're not going to hear this on the corporate media, of course. And if you guys support the independent media, like what I'm trying to do, I'm spending some time out of my afternoon to come at you live, then please do check out our content at theconsciousresistance.com. If you can support us by Patreon, that's greatly appreciated. If you want to, buy some shirts and things like that, I got brand new shirts. I did a video about that the other day. You guys can check all that out, or just share the content. I appreciate it. If you just go ahead and share things, that goes a long way. The other request I would make is to join minds.com using my referral link, which is in the last video I purchased earlier today. I released earlier today. I'm just going to post all these links to you guys, and unless there's any questions, I'm going to sign off for now. I just felt like it was necessary to get on real quick and tell you guys what's going on, because you're not going to hear about this. This is, if they even report on this whole thing taking place at the embassy today, you better believe that they're not going to tell you the angles that we were just exploring and what was really taking place, because they want to keep you in the dark. We all know this. I know I'm somewhat preaching to the choir on this, that you guys know what the hell's going on. But it is important for us to still dissect what's taking place. And if I can get to DC, I know some friends who are there, and maybe I shouldn't, I don't necessarily need to be there, but I miss being in the field, guys. Those of you who've been following me for a long time, you've seen me in Standing Rock, even longer, back in Ferguson, at the Silk Road trial, at the Jeffrey Epstein trial, the Barrett Brown trial. I love being in the field. Detroit, I plan to potentially go to Chile later this year, because there is an indigenous struggle that's been going on for years, where it's down to, these indigenous communities are ready to fight to the death to protect their land from various projects. If those are the things you're interested in, or if you want to support me with more documentaries, you have more documentary ideas, please do email me at intothelight@protonmail.com, and let's figure out how we can work together. I have the time, the energy, the skills, and the desire to do these things, but I don't always have the funding and the financing. So if you got an extra little 5 cents in between your couch cushions, send it my way, and you can help support independent journalism. Other than that, I think I'm good for now. Just tell me if you got some questions, and if not, I'll be back tomorrow with more videos. And yeah, like I said, do check out the What You Need to Know About the Venezuelan Coup number 3, 2, and 1. Those are all out already on our YouTube channel. I'll show you one more time, guys. Theconsciousresistance.com is the website you want to get plugged into, because, well, this is where my work's at, and I've been working. It took me an hour today out of my time to get this whole damn thing updated. I realized that I put out a lot of content. I do that for you guys. This is not just for myself. I write 4 or 5 articles a week. I do 4 to 5 live videos a week, sometimes double that or more than that. And different interviews with people. And I'm not sitting here trying to bitch. I'm telling you guys that this is how committed I am to this. And I want more contributors to the Conscious Resistance Network. If you've got things to say, if you want to put everything from yoga videos to news analysis to recipes to spirituality to meditation to comedy, whatever you think that is around the same kind of goal that I have, to wake people up to corporate and state power, to empower them mentally, physically, and spiritually, then email me and let's get in touch. Come get involved with the Conscious Resistance Network. This is meant to be a community source platform. Currently, I'm the only main contributor. Some of our other contributors have taken time off or gotten busy.